Hey guys, so Lord here, back with another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Metallica, Ultimate Cliff Burton, brought to us by the fine folks over at Super7, another bassist. Something tells me we're never going to get a drummer from Super7, because I don't think we have yet, and there's no plans to make one. Like, we didn't even get a zombie Dave Lombardo with the Slayer zombie reaction figure set. So, a little nervous we're not going to be able to have a full band at some point, because we got some frontmen, we got some bassists, heck, we even got some guitarists, but no drummers. I mean, I guess I could pull out a random Peter Criss figure from God knows where, but he's no Dave Lombardo. Let's just make that very clear. But we're not talking about all that. My personal problems aside, we're talking about good old Cliff Burton, the late great Cliff Burton. Unfortunately, those of you unaware, during the Master of Puppets tour in 86 or 87, I want to say, the late great Cliff Burton died in a horrendous bus accident. The bus landed on top of him, so kind of hard to keep going after that. That said, years later, Super7 announces the Cliff Burton reaction figure. I'm like, holy crap, it's Cliff Burton. They made the other members of Metallica back in the McFarlane Staction days. Never thought we'd get a Cliff Burton. And then not long after that, I think Funko made one in their Pop line. Granted, he came in a 4-pack with Metallica, and that thing is super hard to find. That said, Super7 comes back and is like, hey, we're going to make an Ultimate Cliff Burton. This is where my loyalties lie with this company. I like Super7 Ultimates. They're not perfect. They're not. They have their issues, specifically with the lack of articulation in certain areas on certain characters. Now, much like the Lemmy Kilmister I looked at earlier today, check that review out if you haven't already. Would really appreciate it if you did, because that was a really solid Ultimates figure from fine folks over at Super7. I don't need a ton of articulation on Cliff Burton, okay? I need enough. Whereas a character like Chitara from Thundercats, yeah, she probably would have benefited from some double elbows and knees, not gonna lie. She's a very agile character. Cliff Burton, well, he goes pretty hard in the Cliff 'Em All video. I don't think needs all that. And you'd be surprised if you can get out of a good single-jointed elbow and knee once in a while if you just, I don't know, open your eyes and played with the right figures once in a while. Come on, man. That said, before this turns into a rant, let's cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a quick look-see at Cliff Burton's accessories, starting off with the alternate hands. He comes with a slew of them. Starting off with a pair of grip hands, which are always fun. Granted, they have the wrong hinges, though. He does come with a pair of fists, which, unlike the Lemmy Kilmister, I think he'll probably benefit from more. Comes with a pair of bass hands, bass guitar holding hands. Swear, he does these specific poses in that video. Especially with this hand where he's slapping the crap out of it. And then he comes with the one-finger salute hand. Unlike the Cradle of Filth video from yesterday, I'm not going to censor this, because if you can't take that, you're a freaking snowflake, and you can get over yourself. That said, he does also come with the hammer, of course, from Kill 'Em All, or in this case, Cliff 'Em All, but that's pretty cool. No bloodstains. I'm sure they'll make a bloody variant of that or something at some point. And then he comes with two extra heads. He comes with this head, where his hair is kind of flying to the side there. Mouth's open, he's all, yeah! Although that's more of a James Hetfield thing, I suppose. Then he comes with this head, because in the Cliff 'Em All video, he headbangs like a mother trucker, and his hair is flying all over the place. So, very, very cool. And then, of course, you get his bass guitar with the strap. And I didn't mention this in the Lemmy video, but I don't care for the straps on these very much. They're very thin, and they're kind of long. I'm not sure how long it's supposed to be, but they seem kind of long. Instead, taking a closer look at Mr. Cliff Burton here. Does look like him. Cool version of him anyways. Very cool figure though. I like this guy a lot. He's not going to qualify for my top 13 of 2023 though. Or whatever I choose to do, that is. Because he came out super late. Like the last week of December is when most people had this guy. I'm pretty sure people had Lemmy back in like November. So I'm not going to count him for last year. He'll definitely count for this year, however. And he is super duper cool. I like him a lot. Unfortunately, you could tell there is no torso joint here, and this is all like, this is a rubber overlay, this coat, and the shirt there with the Misfits skull of all things on there, just like the reaction figure, and just like the Cliff 'Em All video, I should say. But he does get a little bit, but it's still pretty like hard. It's not gonna move a ton for you. So that's unfortunate. You're not going to get a lot out of that. But you do get a little bit out of the head. You can look side to side. Tilt up and down a bit. Does have a disc hinge in the shoulder, but he can only go up about that far. And I don't think it needs to be hindered that much. He rotates forward and back. Really squeaky on the shoulder there. Lemmy was like that too. He does have a single elbow with rotation. Didn't have to heat up the elbows on him. And then he does have a hinge swivel wrist. I already showed you the torso articulation. His hips can kick out pretty far because he actually has the rubber diaper, whereas Lemmy had the hard plastic crotch piece. He can kick his legs back down. He can kick forward and back. Although I will say his hips are kind of, they move in unison. I mean, you could pose them independently, but it will kind of drag on that, which is odd. I'm not used to that with Super7. I remember that being a thing with NECA Predators back in the day, but not with these. He's got a thigh cut. Works pretty well. He's got a single knee. It works pretty well. I had to heat up this knee. I heated them both up, but this one in particular, I couldn't get it to work without doing that. He does have a swivel below that. He's got like bell-bottom jeans or something going on. He's got a tear on the knee there. That said, he does have a hinge, or a ball hinge, excuse me, foot, so you can rotate it and then hinge it back and forth. And he does have a rocker. He's wearing black shoes. He's got peg holes at the bottom of the feet in case you need help to stand him up. So that's Cliff Burton in a nutshell, man. Really like this figure. I've always been a Metallica fan ever since I was a wee lad. And yes, I'm actually one of the two people who thinks the Black Album is pretty decent. If you go with the deep cuts, if you're going to listen to the two soft songs and Enter Sandman all the time, then you might snap. But even songs like Wherever I May Roam or Sad But True still hold up, in my opinion. But my favorite Metallica album, without a doubt, is Ride the Lightning, or as James called it in the Cliff 'Em All video, Ride the Fucking Lightning. That album, start to finish, with the exception of like one song maybe, is like hardcore bangers. Like Fight Fire with Fire, title track, For Whom the Bell Tolls, which I never knew that opening, if you want to call it a riff that is, was Cliff on the bass. I thought that was an electric guitar. It is his bass. That is insane to me, the things he was able to do back then. And then, of course, my favorite Metallica song of all time, Creeping Death. Like, get out of here. That's my favorite. It's always going to be my favorite, and nothing's going to change that. Four Horsemen came close, just because of the subject matter, but Creeping Death has, like, the sickest riffs in it. Like, hands down. For me, personally. That said, Metallica's magnum opus is probably Master of Puppets. I mean, they did use it on Stranger Things after all. But, at the end of the day, always been a Metallica fan. Metallica seems to be a quote-unquote metal band that a lot of people can get behind. whether they're into metal like me and like, you know, the darker side of it or not. That said, I wonder what would Metallica be like today if Cliff Burton was still around. I can tell you they probably wouldn't have put out Saint Anger and Lulu, but those jokes are for another time, because today it's all about the late great Cliff Burton, and what a glorious figure this is. Although I do hope we get the rest of Metallica, because I want an Ultimate James Hetfield. That'd be freaking awesome. But with that being said, I'm rambling. So let's cut to the chase once more and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is the late great Cliff Burton alongside another bassist we again took a look at earlier today. So please check that out if you haven't already. Would really appreciate it if you did. The late great Lemmy Kilmister. Kind of unfortunate that 2 of the 3 guys on screen are no longer with us, but you know, it is what it is, I'm afraid. Because the last guy on screen is very much alive and I believe touring with Merciful Fate again, not in this getup, but with his fancy top hat look. Mr. King Diamond! Rocking his bone cross mic with devil horns in the air. I guess that's a pair of hands we could have got with Cliff and Lemmy here. We didn't get any devil horns, but they're not really known for doing that, I guess. But this King Diamond's awesome. The Lemmy's awesome. They're definitely contenders for the 2023 best of, but unfortunately Cliff here will have to wait until I do the 2024 video, which I would say he's got a pretty good chance of getting into that. Unless a Dio comes out, then everyone's screwed, because that is a grail of mine to have a fully articulated, well, articulated enough, I guess, Dio figure. Again, another fella who's no longer with us. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but it would be kind of cool if Super7 did a Randy Rhoads from Ozzy Osbourne. That seems like up their alley, but I'm not sure what they'd have to go through to get the licensing to do that. They got to go through Ozzy's people, or if Randy has his own separate thing. I don't know, but since this wouldn't be one of my reviews without him, here's Cliff Burton alongside Mythic Legion's brother Mandibilith and the infamous 11 Spawn, who is not necessarily towering over Cliff Burton, but he is a little taller. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and even though good old Cliff Burton here will not be eligible for my top 13 or however many I choose to do action figures of 2023 video, because I think he came out just a little bit too late in the year, he's definitely going to qualify for the top 13 or however many I choose to do action figures of 2024, because this figure is freaking awesome. It looks like Cliff. I'm not sure if it feels, smells, or sounds like Cliff, because no batteries included, but at the end of the day, I never thought in a million years we'd get a Cliff Burton figure. But with all that being said, are we going to get the rest of Metallica? Because right now it seems like we could have a full band, but they'd all be Cliff Burton, and that's kind of weird. As much as I love me some Cliff Burton, I mean, he did play the opening quote-unquote riff to For Whom the Bell Tolls. Still amazed at what he did on that album. I would like to have an Ultimate James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, and even that D-bag Lars Ulrich to go with this guy, especially from the Cliff 'Em All video. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get that at some point in the probably not near, but maybe distant future. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.